Fantastic. So this is going to be really informal since we have such a small group. I'm not a fan of PowerPoint slides, but I do have a couple for you. And then I'm going to dig in and actually show you some of the platform. So my name is Walt Kaplan. My background is public safety. I've been involved in public safety since 88, I think it was, 86. That's bad. I used to live here in Winston-Salem, moved out of here about 20 years ago. I miss North Carolina terribly. I used to live out near Clemens. Now I live just south of Quantico, which is 40 miles from DC and about 3-4 hours from DC with traffic. So that was a joke. You guys are supposed to laugh now. So a little bit about RapidDeploy. We were founded actually in South Africa. We were founded by 2 responders who realized that it was great that they had all these volunteer and paid entities for rescue, but they didn't have any way to get them from point A to point B. You could call Uber and get an Uber, no problem, but you couldn't call 911 and necessarily get an ambulance or a rescue unit in an appropriate time period. Our headquarters is now in Austin, Texas, which if anyone's been to Austin, that's quite the town as well. A lot of growth over the past few years. And we moved there in 2019. Since 2019, we've established 10 statewide contracts. We have the entire state of California, which is 440 PSAPs. We've got Arizona, we've got Kansas, and I'll show you a little bit of Kansas. They've done some really neat stuff with their GIS. We have national base maps in the platform already, but we can also use the localities GIS. And I'll show you some of that in a minute. The whole purpose of this is really to reduce response times in the 911 center. So we're taking all these disparate data sources, pulling them into our platform, and then pushing them back out to the telecommunicator. So this platform is specifically for the 911 telecommunicator or 911 professional that's answering the calls. You'll also hear about CAD in the 911 center. That's focused more on dispatch. This is specifically for call taking. We also offer an analytics software package, and we're currently deploying, we've completed the deployment for about 99% of it in the state of North Carolina. And we very graciously have Pokey and Tom here with us today from the state, as well as Matt, who I know you guys all know. So we have, again, Kansas, we've got North Carolina, we've got Kentucky, we've got Tennessee. We also have Connecticut. That was a recent addition for analytics. We're in talks right now with Michigan and a handful of other states that I can't really mention right now. We've got, it says here 108, we've got about 140 right now. We have some of our engineering crew are in South Africa, in Cape Town. Some of them are here in the US, in Austin, as well as we've got employees across the country. The beauty of having these 2 sites is the fact that South Africa is English speaking, even if their accent can be a little tough on us sometimes, but they are English speaking. And with the time differential, we can offer near 24-hour coverage without having to do any shifts. All of our customer success is based here in the US, but we do have, like I said, engineering resources. We recognized early on that probably the biggest drawback in this whole industry is customer support. The big vendors make great products, they really do, but they haven't paid attention to customer support. So our focus right from the very beginning was in keeping our response times. I think this is an older slide. It's actually right around 18 minutes, the average response time. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to solve your problem in 18 minutes, but we will start addressing it immediately. So everything today in 911 is still analog. We talk about next gen. North Carolina and a handful of other states are making progress towards a next gen environment, but we're still struggling. And a lot of that struggle really comes down to organization and funding. 911 is often 90% of the time, it's really at the localities level. And because of that, it's very hard to standardize programs. Again, not calling North Carolina out for any reason other than they've really shown to be a leader in the country in bringing next gen across the state so all boats rise at the same time and nobody's getting left behind. Takes a lot of work, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of coordination, and we see our role in making that easier on the telecommunicator. That's our whole role. So again, radius mapping and Eclipse analytics, I'm going to show you that in a minute. We can do a direct integration with your telephony. So the call handling equipment, the telephones that the 911 center uses in their center, we integrate direct with them. What that allows us to do is to create almost this single pane of glass. So when you're looking at our platform, you can get all these data streams in one source, and I'll show you that in just a minute. We can automatically locate caller in seconds. Like I mentioned, we have established relationships with Apple and Google, and what that does is when you call 911 on your cell phone, you're giving Apple and Google implicit approval to share your data with that 911 center. Once you call 911 and you share that data, it will then populate on our map as a signal, one of these little signals here. And we'll do what's called automatic rebids every 5 seconds. If it's a newer style phone, we're going to get, I forget what it is, down to 3 meters, I think we can get for accuracy, which is roughly within about 30 feet. So it's pretty impressive where we're at today. Now, if it's an older style phone, we're not going to get any better data, unfortunately, because a lot of the older style, either they don't have data or they don't have GPS built into them. Oftentimes, you'll see it display on the map before the call even rings inside the center. And that's because, again, the way 911 works, you've given Apple and Google permission. They share that data with us immediately, and it populates on the map. Everything we do is Esri-based. I'm going to now teach you everything I know about GIS. We're done. You now know everything I know about GIS. I can spell it, and that's about it. We rely on a localities GIS. We also have national base maps, but we rely on that localities GIS. If they're using Esri REST services, which I'm sure you guys are a lot more familiar with than I am, it's as simple as copying and pasting that URL into our platform. Ours is software as a service. So every time you log into that Chrome browser, you're going to have whatever the latest data, either that we've upgraded in the system or that mapping data that we're pulling off the Esri REST services. We can do two-way, oops, I went too fast. We can do two-way text. And the beauty of two-way text, and we actually have localities that buy our platform just for the two-way text over here. It's not what you would call a traditional text to 911. It's more of an overlay. It's more of a text from 911. And the beauty of it is, and I'll show you this as well, and I'll pass my phone around, we do automatic translations. So if that caller is a Spanish speaker or, and I'll use Montgomery County, Maryland. Montgomery County, Maryland, the top 5 languages are Arabic, Korean, I think Mandarin, English, and Spanish. And they do an automatic text that sends out a message in all those different languages, allowing the caller then to text back in the language that they're comfortable in. Doesn't preclude the need for language line, which you may or may not have heard of. It's a service that you pay for by the minute. And when you pay for that service, you actually get a live translator on the phone with you who can then translate. The problem with that is the first thing they ask you is, what language are they speaking? Well, I don't know. I know it's not English, but that's about the extent of it. We believe in situational awareness, but we believe in controlling the data or curating the data. That's probably a better word, not controlling it. What we're trying to do is present that 911 center with as much data as they can realistically engage with. And when I say that, we turn on and off layers. We work with the 911 center to make sure that we're not overloading them with data. Because you'll see in a minute in this demo environment, we've got thousands of data points that we're bringing in. Not every 911 center needs those. And everyone can curate what they see. So we'll work with that 911 center saying, okay, you want to see where all your fire hydrants are. You want to see where all your schools are, where your police stations, what the fire boundaries are. And we'll pull all those data points in for them. But some of them aren't necessary. We also integrate tightly with RAVE. RAVE was just awarded a statewide contract here in North Carolina to do, and you'll have to forgive me, I think they're doing the Smart 911 for the schools. Do you know? I think it's for the schools statewide. We've integrated very closely with RAVE, so when that panic button hits, again, you're not going to a different screen. It will pop up inside our platform. We work very closely with OnStar. OnStar does all the telematics for GM. As a matter of fact, they have a center, if I'm not mistaken, in Charlotte, is one of their big centers, as well as, I think, 2 others across the US, maybe 3. And they're using our platform now in all their centers. They've also, GM Ventures, they've also invested in us as well. They view us as really integral to their growth. We work with Bosch. Bosch does the German cars, Volkswagen, Mercedes, they do telematics for. We can do alarms. We do have a relationship with ADT. We can do ASAP to PSAP, and those are all alarm protocols. Our analytics, that gets me more excited than even the mapping. I'm not going to get into it much because I don't see that as really relevant for this group, but I get excited about the analytics really because it's a paradigm shift in how we look at analytics. Instead of getting a spreadsheet with data that's old by the time you read it, you can literally log in, and I have to be careful, it's not real time, but it's close. It's near real time, 0 to 30 minutes, let's say, and actually be able to see it in a somewhat graphically pleasing format instead of a spreadsheet. Same data, different presentation, operates very differently than our competitors out there, and I get very excited about it because every decision that we make in 911 should be driven by the data. How many seats we fill, how many telecommunicators we have, how many call takers, how many dispatchers, what we're spending our money on, that all should be driven by the data. I'm not going to go into this. I think that's all I have for slides. Oh, this is the key to everything that we do. And what that is it's a little Internet of Things box, and it does the translation for us. It sends that data up into the Microsoft Azure government cloud, and I have one at my table. It's about half the size. It's about 8 inches by 4 inches by maybe 2 inches high. And all it is a little Windows box with internet connectivity that sends the data from the 911 center up into the cloud and then back down to them anywhere that they have a Chrome browser. So you don't require any on-premise equipment. There's no additional costs involved with it. We take care of everything with that one little box. This is an old slide. It says 800. We're actually in over 1,500 PSAPs today. I am going to show you the platform now. And again, the beauty of this, oh great, it logged me out, so you're going to have to bear with me while I log back in. But the beauty of this is I can log in from anywhere. So anywhere that I have internet connectivity, I can log back into the platform. This is especially helpful these days, as we learned with COVID, when we saw centers, I don't want to say work from home, because a lot of centers aren't anywhere close to anyone ever working from home and receiving 911 calls. And a lot of that has to do with law enforcement and CJIS compliance. However, there's no reason that you couldn't grab your stuff, grab your phones, the rollover phones that 911 calls are being distributed to now, and go to the fire station down the road, to the police substation down the road, or any other spot where you have connectivity. All right. So this is the platform itself. What happened? Looks like we broke it.
Is the screen extended? Is the screen's extended? I have no idea.
I tried it out.
Oh,
Look
it is
at that. So
Operate it that way.
GIS and IT, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a little funky for me to look at. But what you'll see here, and I'm going to create a call really quick because I want to show you some neat things. So I'm going to use my cell phone. And I'm going to create a call. And as you can see here, I created this call. We'll just pretend it didn't come in on 911. It's in the 911 center, but it came in on an admin line. So we don't have location. What I can do with our platform is I can reach out to that cell phone by clicking this little button here. I can send it an over-the-top text. This is not Big Brother. This is an over-the-top text that's going to show up on my phone. And it's going to say RapidDeploy, Rapid Locate. Please click on the following link to share your location. And let's see how accurate it is. So on my phone, it's going to show me the address, 301 West 5th Street. And that's Cherry. That's pretty darn close. And again, that's just an over-the-top text. And you can see here we have, for those familiar with What 3 Words, we offer the What 3 Words. That's great for rescue. These guys who had too much time on their hands broke the entire world up into like 20-meter squares and then assigned 3 words to each of those. Maybe they're even 10-meter squares. It's phenomenal what they've done. We can also do video. And again, it's the same premise where it's an over-the-top. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Forgive me, it's hard to. And are we going right till 4 or till 3:50? 3:50? So I'm going to end this with a little video and see if anybody has any questions. And there we go. Now we're bringing video into the 911 center. Like we said earlier, all this can be turned on or off. You do not have to use it, but it's there for the 911 center if they want it. There's a lot of things that I could show you in the map, but we don't have that much time. But I am going to just show you if I can. My problem is yeah, come by the booth. That way I'm not eating up your time here. Come by the booth and I can show you some of the layers that we basically were. I can do a search right now and I can pull in layers from North Carolina that are publicly posted with no security, not that it needs it, but I can pull that right into the platform and we have. So I'm going to take a pause, see if there are any questions. And anybody that's interested, I do have cards here. There's no hard sell here. We're happy to talk about the platform. Like I said, we're already deploying in the state of North Carolina, but we'd love to talk more if you're interested. Come by the booth. I'm giving away that TV that I got there, and I really don't want to take it home with me. So come by, just scan your barcode. We're not going to harass you. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. I'll be here all day tomorrow as well. Thank you, guys.